Today, we're diving into what is, for all intents and purposes, a gripping psychological drama. It's a story all about a family secret, one that's been buried for 20 long years. It's about a desperate journey for survival and a past that comes roaring back to collide with the present. And it's all being orchestrated by one man, a man who holds all the power. Okay, so let's set the scene. Everything kicks off because of a severe life or death famine. It's so bad that a father, Jacob, turns to his sons and says, "Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die." I mean, the stakes don't get any higher than that. This isn't just a trip to the market. It's a desperate mission to keep the entire family from literally starving. And their only shot is Egypt, the one place that seems to have its act together and has grain to sell. So you have 10 of Jacob's sons getting ready for this incredibly long and dangerous journey down to Egypt. But right from the get-go, something's a little off. You see, Jacob has 12 sons, not 10. So why are only 10 of them going on this mission? Why was the youngest son deliberately kept at home? And this gets us right into the head of their father, Jacob. He is just intensely protective of his youngest, Benjamin. Why? Well, years and years ago, he lost Benjamin's older brother, Joseph, and you can tell that trauma has never, ever left him. In Jacob's mind, Joseph is gone, which makes Benjamin the only one left, the last precious son from his favorite wife. He is absolutely terrified that if Benjamin leaves his sight, the same kind of harm will find him too. And this fear, this over-the-top protectiveness, is really the engine that drives this entire conflict. So the 10 brothers finally make it to Egypt. And they're not just dealing with some local grain merchant. No, they are brought before the governor of the entire land, the guy who personally controls every single sack of grain that gets sold. And so they do what anyone would do in that situation. They bow down, faces pressed to the ground, totally at the mercy of this powerful Egyptian official. And right here, the story just flips on its head. This is the core twist. To the brothers, this is just some intimidating, powerful stranger. But the hidden reality, it's absolutely staggering. This governor is their own brother, Joseph. The very same brother they sold into slavery 2 decades ago. He knows exactly who they are the second he sees them, but they have no clue. The power dynamic hasn't just shifted, it has been completely and brutally reversed. Now, Joseph could have just ended it right then and there, revealed himself, had a big reunion, but he doesn't. Instead, he plays the part of a stranger, speaking harshly to them, putting on this mask of cruelty. He launches into this calculated, high-stakes test because he wants to know one thing. After 20 years, have these men changed? Are they any different from the ones who sold him away? Can you just imagine their shock? They've traveled all this way for food, for survival, and the most powerful man in Egypt accuses them of being spies, a crime that would absolutely get them killed. They're scrambling, desperately denying it, trying to explain, no, we're just honest men, 12 sons from one father. We're just trying to feed our families. But this governor, he is not letting up. Joseph's plan is just cold and methodical. This isn't just an angry outburst. It's a carefully crafted psychological game. First, the accusation. Then he throws them all in prison for 3 days, just to let that terror really sink in. Then, he ups the ante by taking a hostage, Simeon, isolating one of them. And finally, he delivers the final blow, his ultimate demand. The only way you can prove you're telling the truth, and the only way you'll see Simeon again, is to bring me that youngest brother, the one brother he knows their father will never, ever agree to part with. And this incredible pressure does exactly what Joseph knew it would. It just cracks them open. It forces them to finally confront a guilt that they have been carrying around for 20 years. Something about this whole situation feels eerily, horribly familiar. And there it is. In their despair, talking amongst themselves, they finally say it out loud. They don't think this is just random bad luck. No, they are convinced this is payback. This is divine punishment for what they did to their brother Joseph all those years ago. We're hearing them, for the very first time, actually acknowledge their crime. Now here's a detail that changes everything. They're having this incredibly private, incriminating conversation right in front of the governor. How? Well, because he's been using an interpreter the whole time, so they think he only speaks Egyptian. They have no idea he can understand them. But he understands every single word. He hears their confession. He hears them admit their guilt over what they did to him. And in that moment, all the coldness, all the power, it just breaks. He's so overcome with emotion that he has to physically turn away from them and weep. This whole test, you realize, it isn't just about revenge. It's deeply personal and painful for him too. But this test is far from over. After he takes Simeon as a hostage, Joseph sends the other 9 brothers home with the grain they came for. But he's not done playing with their heads. He adds another layer of psychological torment for their journey home. Joseph gives his servants these very specific, very strange orders. Yeah, fill their sacks with grain, give them food for the road, sure. But then, do this. Secretly put all the silver they paid with right back into their sacks. It's this bizarre move that, on the surface, looks like a kindness, but it is absolutely engineered to feel like a curse. And man, does it work. They stop for the night. One of the brothers opens his sack to get some feed for his donkey, and there's his money pouch. Their reaction isn't relief. It's pure, abject terror. Their hearts just sink. They immediately think this is a trap. Either the governor is setting them up, or even worse, this is a sign that God himself is now working against them. So the brothers finally limp back home to Canaan. And now they have to explain this whole nightmare to their father. The harsh governor, the insane accusation of being spies, the fact that their brother Simeon is now a prisoner, and the impossible demand that they have to bring Benjamin back with them. As they're telling this story, they start emptying their sacks of grain. And that's when their fear just gets magnified by 100. It wasn't just one brother's silver. Every single one of them had their money pouch tucked away in their sack. Now they know. It was no accident. In the eyes of the Egyptians, they look like a bunch of thieves, and they are terrified. And this is the moment that their father Jacob just completely breaks. He hears all this, and he sees this horrifying pattern repeating itself. He feels like the world is just stripping him of his children one by one. First Joseph was taken, now Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin? He just cries out in grief, feeling like the entire universe is against him. And his decision is final. It is absolute, and it is heartbreaking. No, he refuses. He will not risk Benjamin, his last son from Rachel. He would rather let Simeon rot in a prison in Egypt. He would rather let the whole family starve than risk losing another child. His past trauma has created a complete and total stalemate. And so we leave them there, completely trapped in this impossible dilemma. The grain they brought back is eventually going to run out. Simeon is still a hostage, his life hanging by a thread. Jacob refuses to give up Benjamin, and Joseph, back in Egypt, refuses to see them or give them food without him. So what happens when a family is pushed right to the absolute breaking point? That's the question we're left with.